most exciting elections is coming up this year in 2010. And today we have two of the candidates who are crazy enough to put their hat in for lieutenant governor. Two of the Republican candidates. This is the Republican day today, and then we'll invite the Democrats to come on, and then eventually we'll have the Democrat and Republican hopefully facing off. But today we just wanted to invite the two top candidates for Republican Lieutenant Governor, Lynn Finnegan and Adrienne King, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about why they decided to run for Lieutenant Governor, and what about this race is so exciting, and what about politics in Hawaii. We're going to get it from two of the experts today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Malia Zimmerman, and this is News Behind the News. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
So, Adrienne, you want to go first? Who is Adrienne King?
Well, Adrienne King was born in Detroit, Michigan, and I went to college and law school there, and I came to Hawaii in 1972. Actually, I got invited by a group called Life of the Land, which was little known back then, to be an intern in there doing environmental work. And I thought, you know, spread my wings, try something different. So I came to Hawaii, and I met my husband, Sam King Jr., and then took the bar exam, passed, and started working in the prosecutor's office. And I was one of the first women that worked in the office, and the first one to try a murder case, which I won, of course. Guy got convicted. I worked there for about 3 years. Then I worked in the city attorney's office doing a lot of police defense. Went into private practice, and while I was at the city, I had my two sons, Christopher, who's now 33, working as a computer programmer in San Francisco, and my younger son, Sam, my intrepid world traveler, who's just gotten to UH Law School. And then I was, Frank Fossey appointed me to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and while I was on there, I was asked to come back to head the Trials Division and actually take Duke Iona's place. He was heading to become a family court judge, and so I took his place as head of the Trials Division, the first woman to do so. And I was there for about 3 years, and then I went out into private practice where I've been with my husband for the last, my husband of what, 35 years, for the last 25 or something years as King and King, focusing on criminal defense and a lot of family law. I do a lot of family law cases. And during that whole time, I was still active in the community, EV Action Council, raising money for Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation, you know, my son's school.
So you've been very busy, and now
busy.
And this is now like time to step up things a little bit, huh?
Step up, right.
Lynn, how about you?
Thanks, Malia, and thanks to your viewers for tuning in. I'm Lynn Finnegan. I've been in the legislature for the past 8 years, 4 terms, and also been the Republican leader in the State House for the last 5. I'm a mom and I'm a wife. My husband, Peter Finnegan, is also a captain in the fire department, and my 2 beautiful, wonderful kids have Pi'ikea, 15, and my son, 11, and he attends Voyager Charter School, and my daughter used to attend Voyager Public Charter School. Let me see. Prior to that, I was with the mortgage industry. And then just one day, out of the blue, you know, getting involved in the Hawaii Republican Party. We did all kinds of volunteer activities with the party, and we started our own group called REACH, or Republicans Empowering All Citizens in Hawaii. And through that movement, and eventually being asked by the governor to run for the House District 32 representative, is where my, I guess, political career began. I've been a strong advocate for public charter schools and education in general, and also a no taxes type of legislator, as well as, you know, our economy and jobs, which I believe is the #1 issue for Hawaii's people right now.
And eventually you became the House Minority Leader.
Yes,
we don't want to forget that.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Definitely.
And so maybe let's reverse things a little bit.
Sure.
Why did you decide to run for Lieutenant Governor and leave the House? I mean, it looks like so much fun in there when you guys are fighting and, you know, wrestling each other.
You know, I believe that the House of Representatives, and in every level, the democratic process, you should have tension. With tension, you are able to see both sides of a situation. And what we've witnessed in this last year is no matter how much we bring very good ideas to the table and we argue and we debate on issues, that the #1 thing that we as Republicans always had is another voice through the executive. You know, we have a Republican governor, a Republican lieutenant governor. And knowing how crucial it is and watching this past session, it just really, in my gut, I just felt like this is the next step is to make sure that we have balance in Hawaii, and we can have balance through working on the legislative races, but as well working on retaining the executive seat.
So just to give a little, I guess, perspective to the viewers, the legislature only has 8 Republicans, right, out of
Correct.
76 lawmakers.
Correct.
And you're one of 6.
I am one of 6 on the state house.
Right,
in the
okay.
state house.
So when you're running for lieutenant governor, right now the governor is a Republican, the lieutenant governor is a Republican, but when you're running, you're talking about running against a long-standing Democrat machine
Yes.
that's had a power for 50 years or more in Hawaii. You have the godfather of politics in Hawaii for the Democrats is Daniel Inouye, brings in all this money. You have 10 deep for every position that the Democrats could possibly run for. So, so how do you, why would you do this? Why would you step up and want to be one of the Republicans? What makes you want to be one of the Republicans?
Well, I've been a Republican for years and years and years because I believe in freedom and liberty and economic opportunity. And I believe that the other party seems to promote more dependence on government than empowering people. And one thing that I've seen in 40 years of working with people is the problems that they face in their day-to-day lives, you know, real problems. And that's why I decided that I committed myself to this race over a year ago, because I wanted to contribute, to offer, to give something back to Hawaii. My home state. This is my state. This is where my children were born, and I will not leave. And I shared Duke's vision about families. I mean, he and I come from the same professional background. We were both prosecutors, city attorney's office, and then he went to be a judge in family court, and I was a lawyer in family court. And I saw, like he did, the effect that legislation has on families, the economy, how it hurts with the jobs, education, the children's dreams. I think they're not being empowered, and people aren't being listened to. They're not listening in Washington, and they're not listening here. They're sneaking bills through just like they were doing in Washington. And I felt it was time to, get in there and step up and work with him, and I think I'd make a good compliment to him on that, and that's why I decided to do this.
Okay, Lynn, what about you? I'm going to throw a tough question at you.
Sure, sure.
Okay, what about the governor? Do you think she's doing a good job? She's a Republican.
Yes, yes.
And you would, and if you, whoever wins would be replacing that administration,
Sure,
right? So
sure.
what do you think of her job so far?
You know, are there things that we disagree with? Absolutely. Are there things that we can agree upon? Absolutely. I've watched the governor succeed in a lot of different areas despite the challenges of a super majority Democrat legislature. So that in and of itself says that she's, willing to go to bat for the people of Hawaii. And sometimes she's going to make decisions that don't make people like me on the Republican side happy. I wasn't necessarily happy about the decision to allow for the rail tax. What I will say, though, is, she is being exactly how she should be in being fiscally responsible during this time of not raising taxes. She found a plan earlier this year in the legislative session to not raise taxes. We followed that plan. We cut even more on the House Republican transparent 2-year budget and 6-year financial plan. So I can only be happy with the fact that she is with there on fiscal policy. So I think that moving on to the next, hopefully 4 years of a Republican administration will only be better than it has been in the past. I feel that one of the difficulties that Governor Lingo had and Lieutenant Governor Iona had was the relationships and being able to work with the legislature. And that's what I offer. One of the things that I will offer, my vision is to make sure that legislative session on or off, that we have those relationships. We're working with people on the legislative, in the legislature, and making sure that all of these great ideas that the Republicans have can move forward by working with with the Democrats. Now, you know, it's going to be contentious. It has been for me, but there is a mutual respect that there is between the Democrats and the Republicans when it comes down to it, and we're fighting on bills.
Okay. Well, what about you? I'm going to put you on the spot. Lieutenant Governor, what kind of job is he doing?
Oh, I think he's doing a fabulous job. I think he's getting out there and talking about the things that are really important, which is families. I remember he was saying something, I heard that it's easier to nurture a child than it is to fix a broken adult. And I was on the legislative task force working with the House and Senate leadership. I've had legislative experience, not from the standpoint that Lynn has had, but I was on this task force for 3 years working with people of all different persuasions and different points of view in crafting legislation relating to family court issues. And I also know that the governor was doing, and Lillian Kohler, just doing this monumental job dealing with issues of foster care and families and trying to keep families together, and the drug problems that we faced and how they were handling all of that. And I am just an admirer of the governor. I mean, I watch her all the time and how she handles herself, and I try to emulate her coolness and her calmness.
She doesn't get rattled. I know that from press conferences.
She doesn't get rattled. I've seen her when she gets asked.
She might scold you, but she doesn't get rattled.
I saw her answer one question where she was asked something, and I was just watching her face go through this, and she just,
yep,
yeah.
She's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And you know, and I don't think her election was a fluke. I mean, that's the thing you hear from the Democrats. Oh, it was a fluke. Like they think Charles' election was a fluke.
I think 8 years, you can't really say it's a fluke anymore.
Well, no, but at the beginning, well, but, you know, and even when she won the second time, they gave up. But they were like, oh, well, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think Charles DeJue's election
was.
No, I think people want something different. I think they want something new. I think people in Hawaii have always been interested in a different viewpoint, a different approach, and that's why it's important to have more Republicans in the legislature and a Republican executive and lieutenant governor.
I think most people would agree it's important to have a balance in the government. Okay, if you could wave your magic wand, I'm assuming you have one. I'm assuming you have one too. What would you change in Hawaii, and what would you keep?
What would I change in Hawaii? Oh, that's so hard to just say one thing.
No, you don't have to pick one thing. No,
Two
I'm
things.
saying if you have a magic wand, you can change anything in Hawaii.
Okay.
We don't have a half an hour, but if you can tell me in 2 minutes.
Two things: education system and business environment. So if we have more time, I would love to go into that.
Expand, sure.
Oh, okay. On the education front, we can have all the different tools that you want. I think that, you know, local school boards is a great idea, but our root problem is that we need to change the culture within the education system. And how do you achieve changing the culture within the education system? And that's one of the reasons why I was for local school boards, because local school boards would allow for competition, it would allow for innovative ideas, and for the different islands or counties or whatever we ended up breaking it down into to compete with each other, to innovate, to be innovative, and see that other people are trying new things. That's why I'm also an advocate for public charter schools. Like I said, my kids went to a charter school, and I'm seeing that those in the community, whether it be principals, teachers, you know, parents, when they have control over their own money, they tend to spend it way better than a central bureaucracy can. Regarding our economy and jobs, private sector jobs is where I am in promoting that, helping businesses to help turn around our economy. I'd like to see lower taxes. I'd like to see less government, and I'd like to see us promoting businesses to move forward and invest in their businesses. And you can do that by those other suggestions that I have.
Okay, great. What about you, your magic wand?
Well, I don't disagree with Lynn on those. I think those are things that need to be changed. And